Hey guys, welcome back once again. In today's video, we are gonna be doing a intake manifold swap. We're gonna do some dyno runs before and after, which I've actually already got the before, that dyno video that I posted last, or the last dyno video that I posted. On that one, we were running it with the this intake manifold, so it's still strapped down on the dyno. Nothing has changed. It's still even strapped down, the same tightness, everything. So literally going to be a back-to-back comparison with the TBSS versus the 9902 truck intake. There's quite a bit of videos on YouTube showing how to do this intake swap, so I'm not going to do a how-to on this one. But I will show some results before and after, and maybe take a few short clips in between if there's something I want to show you guys. I do want to point out I have this evap block plate on this intake, as well as the EGR block plate, which I had my intake air temp sensor mounted in there. And I'm running these eBay fuel rails that somebody suggested on Facebook. I don't remember where. Somebody told me to look on eBay for them. There's a logo on them. I cannot quite remember what brand they are, but if you guys are interested in these rails, just search on eBay for Silverado truck intake fuel rails, and they come with the proper mounts that you need, so they bolt right in. Which my injectors are a little bit longer, so I had to put spacers. I don't know if you guys can see, but I ended up having to put spacers underneath the bolts. Let me see, it looks like it's probably not gonna, can't get a clear shot of it, but I'll take a shot of it once I take the intake off. On that one, maybe you can see. Yeah, little plastic spacers underneath them. So yeah, they work really well. Bolted up really nicely, no leaks, nothing. So I'm very happy with them. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. All right, guys, we are back and about halfway there. Actually, putting it together always takes more time than taking it apart, as we've learned so many times. For those of you guys that have worked on cars, it's a lot harder putting stuff together than taking it apart. But let me show you a little comparison between the two. So here's the old throttle body that's been on the truck, or intake, sorry, and throttle body. So I've been running an unported stock throttle body, unless you call drilling the air hole out or unless you call that porting. But yeah, it's a tiny little dude. It doesn't look too bad, but compared to the new one, it looks pretty tiny. There's my new 2000cc injectors from FIC. These rails, like I said, they use the factory bracketry, or mounting points, I should say, and they bolt up from underneath. So they're pretty nice. I'm actually really impressed with them. But yeah, so we have the same vacuum port in the back on both of them, which I am using it off of, or for my vacuum block here. So I don't know if this thing will slide into that intake. I might try it, and I don't have to pull it off of that hose. Let's see what other. This vacuum port I'm using for my fuel pressure regulator. This one also has it. Hasn't been opened up yet. I'm going to be using the LSA map. Let me get that puppy off of here. Actually, not a LSA map, sorry. It's that new 4-bar that Sloppy Mechanics shared on his YouTube page a while back. That's the part number anyway, 126439555. It's a 4-bar map sensor. This is an LSA plug, which I modified to make it work. Let me unplug it here. I'm gonna have to put the phone down. So what I modified was those 2 teeth right there. I had to cut them down, the bottom 2, so it only has the top 2. I didn't cut them all the way down, so it plugs in a little bit hard, but it works because this thing does not have room for teeth. See if I can get some light in there. Turn my flash on. There you go. You can see the notches are in a different spot. They're actually closer together, the bottom 2. The top 2 are the same amount apart. So the top 2 work, but the bottom 2 on the LSA map are further apart. This is an LSA map adapter harness from Holley actually, and I hardwired it into my Holley harness. So anyway, I made that work. Let's see, I was actually hoping that maybe this thing will, nope, it does not fit in there. Really hoping it would, but it does not, so I'm gonna have to plug that hole. Then I'll probably use this with a short piece of hose. That's probably what I'll do right there. Put a piece of hose in between there, and then we'll use that for the map. I think that's gonna be my best option. And the IAT, this was factory, it was from the factory, it was an evap port, kind of like where they had the solenoid here. On the newer trucks that had the solenoid in line. So this just had a port. I cut it down, drilled it out, tapped it, and I got that puppy in there. And there you can see where the sensor peeks through a little bit. So I think it's enough to get a pretty good read on it. So yeah, I'm gonna get these rails and stuff swapped over. Oh yeah, I also bought this, what brand was it again? It was GAP Performance, I think. Oh yeah, it's right there, GAP Performance. Or GAP, Glenn's Auto Performance, that's what it is. I bought that bracket, it looks really nice and it's adjustable. So you can slide it to make it work right. And I bought one of those cheap Amazon throttle bodies. It was like 80 bucks or something like that. No, I don't have a video of it without the boot on there. I put the boot on there. It was a little bit of a hassle fitting it on there. 92 millimeter. So that puppy will go right on there. And I will take that throttle body off. I'll put them back to back, and then you guys can see the blade size difference. So that is stock throttle body, and that is the new one. I'd say there's a significant increase in flow. I guess it kind of depends on how you hold it, makes it look a little bit bigger. Can't really get them really close, but it's quite a bit bigger. So should gain a little bit of airflow there for sure, but still don't think it's much of a restriction on a boosted motor, but it does something for sure. So there's the intake side-by-side openings, obviously, or you can obviously see the difference there as well. But anyway, I'm gonna get this stuff swapped over and we'll get back with you. All right guys, so this is the finished intake. Whoops, I scratched it up a little. That's right, it won't stay new forever. which I actually bought this intake used, but I washed it the car wash with some degreaser and it turned out really nice. Got the throttle body all mounted up. Oh yeah, lots of airflow. Intake air temp sensor here. I think I already showed that. I did this to for my boost control. My boost solenoid is right there. It lays over the top of the intake and goes in there. That runs to this hose, which goes to the top of each wastegate. See what else. The rails fit great. I had to change the brackets out to make them fit. Yeah. Let's see what else is there. The IAC and the TPS all worked off the old throttle body. Even the gaskets. The gaskets are off the old intake. And they're a direct fit on these intakes as well, for those of you that didn't know. I ended up plugging the map sensor hole, and I'm using that one for the map sensor. I'm not going to use this one. I'm actually going to get everything out of that vacuum block right there. I'm going to get the boost gauge, which is this hose. I'm going to put a little fitting on there and run it directly over there to the vacuum block now instead. Let's see what else. Oh, and the fuel pressure regulator line I'm going to also run to the vacuum block. So we'll clean up a few fittings off the intake so we don't have to have as many on here. We'll leave these puppies on there. I want to put an engine cover on it eventually. So yeah, I guess I'm ready to put this puppy back in there. It's not going to be very fun. What's crazy is those ports actually look kind of dirty, but they are cleaner now than they were when I put the heads on there. So E85 really cleans the ports up, so that's nice. But yeah, I guess we'll do some more video once I get it done. Hey, what's up guys? We just finally got done putting the intake on, the camera around. It was a lot more work than I thought, but we got it all lined up everywhere. No leaks anywhere. It worked out pretty good. The only thing I didn't like was the angle of the pipe going into the throttle body, because the throttle body's angled up on these TBSS intakes. But that's the only other difference as far as everything fitting. So otherwise it worked out pretty good. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make some runs and we'll see what she does. Alright guys, so basically these are my previous runs. We got 12.5 psi, made 600 horsepower, that's the teal lines. And then we got 24 psi, and those are the red lines. So yeah, we'll see how these two compare. I'll go ahead and make a run here. Alright guys, so after analyzing the run, the weather is slightly different, so I don't know how much that has to play, but it looks like up top it was definitely gaining more power. As you can see there, it picked up about 22 horsepower, went from 557 to 580. But the peak horsepower was pretty much the same between the two. You got your 600 peak. This one made it at a higher RPM though, right here, 599, where the other intake was making 589, so it was down 10 horsepower. But down here, let's see, at this RPM, 5200 RPM, the stock truck intake did a little bit more, but that could have been a boost spike as well when the boost came in, because that's where it peaked out. Looked like it was up everywhere except here, and you know, I can't really say what caused it to be down here a little bit. Maybe a little too much timing or something. Looks like we were at 583, 573. It was down 10 horsepower right there for some odd reason. So we picked up a little bit of power, not very much though, and we'll see what happens when we go a little bit higher boost. Go from there. Alright guys, we're going to do a pull now with 24 pounds of boost. We'll see how it goes. Hey guys, I just wanted to cut in because I totally forgot to go over the data for the 24 PSI pull. It gained about 10 horse on the peak, but again, the peak was something that was only relevant at the very beginning of the pull, because with my torque converter, it makes the most power at the beginning of the pull almost every time. But where I noticed the biggest gain was throughout the higher RPM. Again, it was up about 20 horsepower or so throughout the run. So I just thought I'd share that in here real quick, since I forgot to record going over the data when I was at the dyno at the time. So, and these next few runs are going to be on 27 pounds of boost. All right, guys, we're going to make another run on 27 pounds. 27.1, just like we did the other day. See what it does there. Alright guys, so here's a comparison run. 27 pounds with the other intake and 27 with this one. Now what happened over here, the red run was the one I just did now. So I started the run with more boost built than I did with the other one. So what happens on the data log, you can actually see it. The boost climbs quickly, like wherever it peaks up and then comes back down. So this run right now, it peaked up here and then came down and then it recovered and brought the boost back up. Granted, this is only like a pound or so, but a pound of boost is 20 horsepower. And the teal line was the run from the stock intake, and it would overshoot the boost a little bit more and then come back down. But as you can see here, we did pick up about 20 horsepower, 10-20 horsepower through most of the run. So it was a slight improvement, not very much for the intake. But again, I was already thinking that anyway. It's my heads that are limited, not the intake manifold. At least with this intake manifold, long runner. If I went to a short runner, we'd see a lot bigger gains up here, up at the higher RPM towards the end of the run. Let's see the, whoops. Can I make that go away? That was at 6,800 RPM. And it was up, looks like 10 horsepower, 10 horsepower right there. So, yep, I guess. So that's gonna conclude the video for today. I was hoping to see a little bit more gains than that, but that's how it is with the horsepower game when you're chasing it. I was expecting to see closer to, 30, 40 horsepower gains, because typically the TBSS intake will pick up 15 horsepower naturally aspirated, which would mean that it would pick up, 30 horsepower on 15 pounds of boost, which it did. What was it, 20 horsepower or something like that? I don't remember, but it picked up about the same amount of power throughout the entire range on low boost and on high boost. So it's kind of interesting. But anyway, I just want to share a test with you guys, so now you guys can see for yourself. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.